There you go, there you go, there you go. I like that. Everybody, big loco. I want to see that hair shake. Let's go.
Katherine, I just want to start with you. You said that the journey of Lost Souls started in 2016 with a short film, and Sauve being the only person to answer an ad to star in it. But how has that journey been from that, starting this kind of connection with Sauve to premiering your first feature film, in like premiering at Tribeca and going to South by and all that?
There's this saying that in the Bible, it says, God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. And I'm really grateful to all the foolish people up here who decided to go on this journey of making this film, Lost Souls, with me. And I met Sauve off of Craigslist in 2016, a month into moving to Austin, Texas. And then before then, I actually met Andrés and Juan Carlos in college at Georgetown University, where we went together, and Andrés and I met in a screenwriting class, and I never thought that someone like Andrés would want to be my friend, let alone make a movie with me. So yeah, like making this film was truly like a divine miracle, I guess, because everybody who came to the project sort of organically came to it in a way that felt, I don't know, perfect, I guess. And so, yeah, that was like the journey, is just kind of like having faith in the process and going with the flow.
For Sauve, what made you want to answer that ad back in 2016? Was it just, why not?
I actually kind of always wanted to be an actor my whole life. I was in sports and stuff, so I was just like, oh, I'm 16. I'm like, okay, how do I be an actor at U2 University? And I was just looking at videos. I'm like, okay, most of them like Casting Network and all those, and they all were like paid at that time, and I was 16, I didn't have a dime. So I seen the freeway was like, you go on Craigslist and look at gigs. Mm-hmm. So I was just go through the gigs and just email them, and she was the only person that replied.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Talk about serendipitous, right? Well, for Micro TV and Aaron, how was it like for y'all to be acting now? Like, y'all are actors. Like, what was this process like? Kind of, y'all are musicians, but now kind of translating your art into acting. Like, how was that for y'all?
The whole thing was just surreal, like just a surreal experience. It was very nerve-wracking entering it, because I've never acted before, you get what I'm saying? Never did no acting classes and none of that, but as soon as I got in, it just felt like one big family. We just all did it. It was just a great feeling for sure.
I feel like the movie and the real life is super connected and super similar, so it wasn't that hard to make that first time acting, because we have like so many similar things into the real life to the movie. So after this movie, we are actors, but before it, we weren't actors, so we are all artists. So yeah, it's like a part of it.
And for Andrés and Juan, what was it about this story and just working with Katherine and all these wonderful guys here?
And I went to Austin, and I was like, all right, I need to read Katherine's script. She sent it 3 months ago. I'm being a bad friend. Woke up the next morning, read the script, and I was like, wow, this is my next project. And it was actually the Sunday of Pentecost Sunday. And I called Katherine, and I was like, Katherine, what are you doing? She's like, oh, just coming out of the shower. Why? I was like, do you want to grab a coffee? I'm here in Austin. And I had never been to Austin before. And she was like, what, you're in Austin? And I was like, yeah, let's talk. I want to talk about, it was called Band Kids at the moment, the script. It was like the working title. And we met at a coffee shop, and I told her, Katherine, we need to make this movie. And Katherine was like almost like tearful, because she had asked God to give her a clear sign of what her next movie should be. And she was debating between 2 movies, and serendipitously or miraculously, a tornado diverted my path. And I was like, Katherine, this is the movie. And I think that part of it is that story, but also the finding family through music. It also was a complex movie to do with a lot of musicians. I worked with musicians before. I did a prison documentary in Venezuela where I built a music studio inside prison, so I knew that a lot of the essence of this and the way that people were going to connect through the movie and finding family and complex characters and complex people, as all of these guys up here are, and we are, like it's part of the journey that we did find a family while making this movie and really enjoyed it. And then JC can add.
Yeah, pretty similar to that. Like, Andrés sent me the script after Katherine sent it to him, and the found family aspect. And this story, though, although the name is Lost Souls, it like is, I think, a optimistic story in the end. Like obviously there's sad and painful moments, and a lot of it echoes the reality of what a lot of these guys were living. Like before we shot the film, a couple of their friends had passed away, and even during shooting the film, some of their friends like passed away for similar reasons of like overdose and dealing with fame when you're young. So I thought it was a very powerful message of hope and inspiration that, like, with the right people and the right truth, that you can like be inspiring.
Katherine, I want to go back to casting. It's like, how important was it for you to cast non-traditionally trained actors who are musicians first?
Well, I will say that when we were thinking about the film, we were very open. So, I mean, I knew Sauve was going to be the lead, but I was like, great, yeah, if we can get like a big rapper, like that's great. And we did reach out to the various agencies, and I reached out to like, I don't know, Kiara Love and some other up and coming hip hop artists, Omar Apollo and Dominic Fike, and I didn't get any responses, obviously. And then and we didn't have a casting director, so it was sort of like, who can we find organically? And Sauve recommended I reach out to some of his friends, and so Sauve recommended I reach out to Seven. And Andrés suggested Micro, and I don't know if you were friends before, but yeah, they were friends, and he was like, you have to meet this artist, and that was how Micro came on board. And then some people were people I literally just found perusing on Instagram, like the character who plays Big Loco, Torn. I was just scrolling on Instagram and DM'd him, and I had no clue if
if he would say yes,
not just if he would say yes, but I had no clue if he was going to show up when I said like, hey, like be here this Tuesday, this date. Like I had never met him in person. Nobody on our team had met him in person. Yeah, I mean, Sauve said he knew him after the fact, but there were a lot of like chances, and I don't know, I just hoped that it would work out. And then Crystal, who plays Nina, was a recommendation from someone that I met while location scouting in El Paso, and she had never acted before. And when I offered her the part, I literally didn't even do a cold read with her. I just seen her YouTube videos as a musician, and I sort of hoped that she would be able to act. So it kind of like just magically worked out. And then Malachi and Alex Brackney were two of the songwriters, part of our band camp where we wrote the original music for the film. And we actually had some actors drop out who were supposed to act in the film. And then I was like, oh yeah, like Alex would be great for this one character that that I had already envisioned. And then Andrés was like, oh yeah, like what about Mally? Can we put Mally in the film? He's gonna bring good energy. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna put Mally in the film. And then I sort of like rearranged the dialogue and the characters to adapt to the actors we did cast.
When I watched it, I was like, immediately, I don't know why, I just thought of like all these old 90s hip hop movies, like Juice, Work, Yeah, I was just like, okay, but how do you think Lost Souls navigates this terrain? We're in this interesting time of art versus commerce, and like, especially for indie filmmakers, how do you think anyone could answer this, especially the filmmakers? How do you think there is an indie scene anymore? Especially like even with art, as musicians, you're making, it's so, for lack of better words, saturated and so much content. But how are y'all navigating the indie scene in general?
Well, I'll let Sauve talk too, but I don't really consider myself just an independent filmmaker. I consider myself someone who wants to make commercial films, and I'm actually really hungry to work in whatever institutional system that exists to...
You hear that out there?
Yeah, to help me make commercial movies. But, and I actually feel like everybody here feels the same way. I think all of us are hungry to like work in the big, I don't know, studios. So yeah, in the big league, exactly. And I think the independent spirit is just like being like, well, we can do it ourselves too. And like we can find ways to make things that feel commercial and young and contemporary, and take advantage of our like weaknesses to make them, I don't know, part of the film, and make it like an impressionistic mixed media 21st century kind of thing.
I feel like this movie is kind of trailblazing in a sense, because we're in such an era where everything's so accessible. Knowledge, you can get anything. You can record music on your phone. You can do all these things. So it's like, I mean, we come from this era of like, oh, you have to go with your headshots and you have to go do this and you have to go do your audition in person. I feel like this new era since COVID happened, like it made it more digital and more like you have to do it yourself at home. And I feel like when we got to that vibe of like creativity, like, okay, this is real. It's not just an indie film. This is actually a feature film. This could do something. It's like anybody can do it. You just need the equipment really and the knowledge. So I feel like that is trailblazing for people that not think that they need a big budget to create something. You know, people don't have, you know, what did they say back in the day? If there's no roles for you, make your own, you know.
We are all passing through something important, and at the same time we're trying to make our dreams come true. So that's something that the movie shows a lot, and that's life. Sometimes you have a big loss, or you're passing through something, but at the same time you have to make your best to make your life better and get your dreams come true.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you all. Give them one more round of applause. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Cool.